Ouch! My head felt like it had been hit with a brick. Why was the room so bright? And what were those monotonous beeping sounds? Was this a hospital? I used up all my strength to pull myself into a sitting position. Then a nurse walked into the room. Why am I here? I stuttered out in confusion. She smiled over at me and replied, "Oh, you're awake. What a miracle! Both you and your baby are fine now." Huh? What on earth was she talking about? My look must have said it all, as her smile dropped. "Honey, you were in an accident and lost a lot of blood. You've been in a coma for the last month. And as you're pregnant, there was a worry that both of you wouldn't make it. But it's all okay now." What? I've been asleep for a whole month? Concerned, I asked her. "My parents, where are they?" "Oh, they're so busy, so they asked us to take care of you," she said as she fluffed out my pillows. Yeah, that sounds about right, as my parents were always busy. They hated wasting time, on me especially. I put my hand on my swollen stomach and tried to recall the accident, but why couldn't I remember it? Come to think of it, I didn't even remember who the daddy was. A sharp pain shot through my head, so I clutched it with both hands. Then I cried out to the nurse, "Why don't I remember anything?" Seeing this, the nurse hurried off to find a doctor. Tests were carried out, and guess what? Turns out I have short-term memory loss. The following days on my sickbed, I had nothing to do but think. Finally, a memory came to me. It was me and my bestie, Cecilia. There was Christmas music playing, and we giggled as we prepared wasabi-covered cookies to trick our friends. Now it's summer already? Ugh! So that meant I'd already graduated. Suddenly I heard footsteps. It was Cecilia! In the doorway with a huge bouquet of sunflowers. I can't even begin to explain how good it felt to see her. We hugged for like 100 times. Then, unable to contain my patience, I eagerly jumped into the question. "Now, please tell me everything. Why was I in an accident? And who's the baby's daddy? I mean, she's my bestie, so if anyone knew anything, I figured it'd be her, right?" But to my dismay, she just shook her head. "Sorry, Dora. I don't know anything about the accident. But, the dad's probably Louis." I spluttered out in surprise. "What? Louis, as in the Star Wars geek from math class? So, turns out Louis and I have been in love for a while." She also said she'd been shocked at first when a rebellious girl like me fell for a straight-A student like him. Louis? Really? Me and Louis? If so, then why hasn't he visited me? Seeing how dumbfounded I looked, Cecilia continued. "Look, I think you should go find Louis and sort this out." So, as soon as I was discharged from the hospital, I went around to Louis's house. He answered the door and gave me this dirty look. "What do you want? We're through, like ages ago." Then he slammed the door in my face. This was confusing and annoying. He's the reason I can't get into my favorite pants. He needs to man up. So I went back to his house the next day, adamant I would have answers. Only his mom answered the door and said he was at college. I drove there and spotted him walking across campus. Fuming, I charged up to him and grabbed his arm. "Louis, if you walk away from me again, I swear I will scream." He looked super uncomfortable, but had no choice but to follow me to a nearby coffee house. At first, the silence was awkward. I just couldn't stop staring at the gross shirt he was wearing. What did I ever see in this guy? But then he spoke up. "Talk already. I have an important assignment due tomorrow." I slammed my fists onto the table and yelled out, "I'm pregnant, and it's yours." "What? Impossible." His eyes popped. "Oh, so you think you can just shirk your responsibilities by some words like that?" How many months are you?" "Well, Louis, I'm 3 months pregnant. He let out a sigh of relief.
Now that's clear. We broke up 4 months ago. It's definitely not mine. Must be Kai's.
Kai? Who's Kai? I was seriously confused. Had he made up this guy just to get off the hook?
This is just typical of you.
He snarled at me.
Kai is the biker dude you cheated on me with.
After that, he gulped back his drink, then growled out,
Goodbye, Dora.
Then left. Oh boy, this was a lot to take in. Didn't know what to do. I sent Cecilia a message asking if she was free to talk, and the okay message from her arrived within a minute. When I arrived at her house, I saw a man leaving on his bike. So as soon as she answered the door, I winked at her. Who is that guy? Don't tell me he's your new BF. Cecilia gave me a sheepish look. Nah, just an acquaintance. Then she quickly pulled me inside. So, what happened with Louis? I want to know everything. Dropping myself on the couch, I sighed and told her all about my not-so-pleasant encounter with my ex. Wow, he's such a jerk. Cecilia, do you think I need to go see this Kai? Maybe he's the father. No! She interrupted me. I mean, you barely know the guy. I raised my eyebrow. Do you know him? Cecilia looked like a rabbit caught in headlights. Okay, this was odd. Was she hiding something? I was about to press her for more information when suddenly we heard the door open.
Oops, I forgot my phone.
A cute guy in bike leathers walked in. Was he the guy I'd just seen leaving? Then he gave me this puzzled look.
Dora! Huh? Why aren't you in Italy?
I must have been giving him a funny look, as he rubbed his head, then continued.
How could you just leave without saying a word?
I'm sorry, do you know me? He looked puzzled.
Huh? What are you saying? It's me, Kai.
I froze, and my heart was about to break free from my chest. Kai? You're Kai? The father of my baby? Kai glared at me.
What baby? What are you talking about?
None of this made sense to me either, so I just blurted out, there was an accident, and now I'm suffering from memory loss. I can't remember anything. Well, anything that happened after last Christmas. And, yeah, I'm also pregnant. As soon as I finished speaking, Kai turned to look at Cecilia, who was nervously chewing on her nails.
Cecilia, why did you tell me the door was studying in Italy?
She pleaded out. Kai, please. I just don't want you to be caught up in her mess. You deserve better than this. Than her. What? So Cecilia had been lying to me all along? While she actually knew who the father was? Gosh, what kind of friend is that? I was about to scream at her. Then Kai said,
Anyway, Dora, I'm sorry, but the baby can't be mine, as we've only kissed and nothing more.
The room started spinning. I rushed outside. I needed some time alone to process this. Honestly, it felt like the whole world was against me. My memory had failed me, my parents didn't care, my best friend had betrayed me, and now I had no recollection of who my baby's father was. What a tragic mess I was. I arrived home in the worst mood possible. But my parents were still too busy on their laptops to notice it. In a cold tone, Mom just said, Have you figured out who's the father yet? I silently shook my head. Dad snorted.
God, all you use your head for is a hat rack or what? You got yourself in this, so just go solve it yourself.
Ugh, why did they talk as if they ever cared to help me? Please, I've always solved things on my own. Frustrated, I stormed right off to my room. I was sitting by the window, staring out into the void, when my phone beeped. It was Cecilia. Just the thought of her drove me mad, so much that I flung the phone onto the floor without even checking the text. Then came another beep, so I bent down to pick it up, when suddenly I saw something poking out under my bed. It was a lighter with the name Stanley engraved in it. Hang on. Stanley. That did ring some bells. I remember now. Lewis broke up with me 4 months ago. But not because of Kai. No, it was because he was going to a prestigious college and he thought my carefree attitude would cramp his style. Embracing my new single life, I drove to Key West Island and partied hard for a few days. And that's when I met Stanley at a bar. So he was the father. But now what? I mean, I had no way of contacting him. But even if I could find him, then what? I didn't love him. I didn't even know the guy. And I didn't want to be attached to him just for the baby. And when I came back to town, I grew closer to Kai. Only Cecilia didn't like this. So she confronted me at school and insisted that I'd stolen her man. I rolled my eyes and told her, "You're ridiculous. Kai doesn't even like you. He likes me." The next thing I remembered was firm hands pressing against my back, and then I slipped and fell down the stairs. And the rest is history. Ugh! Cecilia was such a heartless monster! Her jealous rage could have killed me and my baby. I patted my belly. Thank God we were both okay. I just needed to figure out what I was going to do now. So, after many days of thinking, I decided what I'm going to do. I want to be a single mother. Hey, I know I can do this. There's no way I'll be as bad as my parents are, which is why I'm here looking for some books on parenting. Ugh, why do they put these books so high up? It's so inconsiderate. Right on cue, someone came to my rescue, reached up and grabbed the book I wanted, then passed it to me. I was about to thank this kind-hearted Samaritan when, hang on, Kai. I put the book down and hurried out of there without saying a word. He shouted after me, but I didn't look back. I just didn't want to be dragged into this drama between Kai and Cecilia. Being through one coma was enough. The next day, I was scrolling through a baby name site when Mum shouted that there was someone at the door for me. I went downstairs to see Kai, standing there with heavy bags in both hands. He gave a coy look and said, "This is for you. And the baby." This made me feel uneasy. I mean, I felt so bad for him. Seeing my reaction, he continued, "I should have told you how I felt from the beginning, and then things would have been different. I like you. I mean, I really do. I love you, Dora, and I want to raise this baby with you." I couldn't believe Kai still loved me, even when I'm carrying another man's baby. He's willing to welcome this baby with all his heart. In that case, I suppose you better come in. I smiled at him while holding the door open. Okay, so sometimes life likes to throw crazy surprises at you. But hey, they make sure things are more interesting. I'm sure it won't shock you to learn that I don't talk to Cecilia or Lewis anymore. Poof, those losers don't deserve me. As for Kai, we now live together, and we can't wait for the baby to arrive. But tough luck, Kai, as there's no way we're calling them Kai Jr.